Hey there. Welcome back to this week's edition of Ask Ron, where Ron answers all of our Gold Club members' questions. I've got Ron here with me. How you doing today, Ron?
Absolutely outstanding.
Awesome. Well, guys, do remember this is an asset for our Gold Club members. If you are a Gold Club member and you want to ask Ron any questions, just go into the Ask Ron forum and leave a, message there. And we can go ahead and get right into it. You ready for the first one, Ron?
I am.
Beautiful. All right, so our first question comes from Brany Voochen. He's asking, when you put the house into a land trust, the house is no longer yours. The entity does not have to file income tax. Then how do you then get the benefit of the depreciation? And what be an example to name land trust? Does it mean every house you put into a land trust, you use a new land trust name?
Yes. All right. First of all, if you put the house into a land trust, it's true the trust owns the house, but you own the trust. So you have all the powers. Nothing changes, actually. Nothing changes tax-wise as well. You didn't tell me whether you were talking about your home. If you're talking about your home, then you'll put it into a trust, and you and hopefully your spouse will be the beneficial interest of that trust. Any other house you put into a trust, you put into the trust, and hopefully you've got an LLC that is the beneficial interest of that trust. And then you and your spouse are the owners of that LLC. So that was the first question. What was the second question? Oh, the tax consequences. In this case, the LLC would be the one that receives and pays all of the expenses. So it's the LLC tax return that is filed. Land trusts do not have a tax return.
Okay. I think that the question was about how do you get the benefit of the depreciation on the property?
Because you put it into a land trust does not affect your depreciation whatsoever. Now, I did have a question here today. He transferred from his LLC to a land trust, and they doubled his taxes because that was a legitimate sale. And unfortunately, the state is correct on that one. When I talk about land trust, I assume you're going to take title to the property in land trust, or you're putting a house you own into a land trust, not from an LLC. That's a different entity altogether. And unfortunately, that was a hard lesson for him. But I probably don't talk about it very much, but there's nothing you can do about that. They doubled his taxes. They reassessed his house. Government wins.
Is that the question from Joey?
I don't know. I got one this morning through Nick.
Yeah, I think I was actually going to ask you about that one later on. Perfect.
All right.
Next question comes from Mona. It is a little bit of a longer one, so you're going to have to bear with me. Hey, Ron, thank you for all that you do for us. We live in Florida, and we bought a mortgage note on a single-family home in North Carolina. The borrower stopped paying, and so did the tenants. At least they weren't paying us. The house needs work. It was built in the 30s, and we currently have about $122,000 in the deal. We had to evict the tenants, have it cleaned out, plus all the legal fees for foreclosure. Now we have insurance, taxes, utilities, and upkeep to prevent any city fines. Repairs will add another $12,000 into the mix just to get in rent ready for Section 8. Hopefully at $1,100 a month per local property managers. Taxes and insurance are about $2,000 total each year, and the property management is 12% for that area. We are not young and cannot do repairs ourselves since we're out of state. We feel out of control of the situation, and it's easy to take advantage of people living states away. I tried to Craigslist ad and got no response, but I'm not a CL marketer. Asking was $100,000, yet we had no nibbles. The algorithmic value is $122,000, and Zillow says $114,000, but no bites at $100,000. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath with a den/office, single family at 1,300 square feet. And while it's in a historic area, the area has a bad reputation and is pretty run down. What do you recommend doing with this property? We don't want to sink more money into this deal and would prefer getting out if possible, unless it makes sense to stay in it and be long-distance landlords on a lease with option.
All right, that's enough.
Section 8.
All right. That's a lot of questions right there, but the simple answer is I assume that you're up there in age, and I don't know why you would buy a property that was out of your state to begin with. and you're dealing in low income stuff, which means you're going to get the low income tenants in that house, I would definitely not rent it on HUD. That's just more problems that you'll have to fix along the way, especially on an old house like that. The answer is I would list the thing with a realtor and get it sold and get rid of it, even if you lose a little bit of money on it, and get it out of your life. You don't need problems like that. And next time, stick in your area, okay? Stick in your area. And it probably wouldn't hurt you to come back and see me again to get updated on what's going on in the world today at our Quick Start School, assuming you've been there the first time. It's only $500 to return. And if you haven't, get in that thing. If you want to learn how to do this business risk-free, and what you're doing, as you've learned, certainly isn't risk-free.
All right, so the next question we have comes from Tony and Angie Stewart over in Columbus, Ohio.
Of course it does.
It does. Wouldn't be right without them. All right, so they said, thanks again for last week's answer on the substitution of collateral. Since you said that it could be very profitable and you're on the lookout for things that you can add to the Gold Club, would you consider doing a more in-depth training with scripts and examples on it, along with some sample forms that we can use?
Well, that's a good suggestion. And yeah, I consider it, but don't hold your breath. I'm up to my elbows now. I'm creating a class for June the 4th on rehabbing and handling contractors. And that's taking a lot of my time right now, but I will make a note. Thank you for that suggestion. And anybody else watching, if there's something that you can't find on the Gold Club, let me know, because I'll see about creating it.
Yep, and I've actually got my my email on the homepage of the Gold Club. So if you guys have any suggestions or anything, feel free to email them to me.
Okay.
All right. And then, so next question comes from Arturo Pietri. I think that he may have had a typo in here because I kind of had trouble deciphering it. He said, how's the recovery of the property is guaranteed to the seller in the contract with each of the following options: leasing from the seller, subject to deals, and owner financing? You know what that means, Ron?
I have no idea. What's the question?
It was, if I had to guess, he probably meant, what is the recovery of the property like, or how is it guaranteed to the seller?
Okay.
In each of the contracts from leasing from seller, subject to deals, and owner financing.
Okay, from leasing from the seller, if you don't pay, they can simply evict you. On a subject to deal, they have absolutely no recourse whatsoever, which is why I'm kind of preaching it against it nowadays. They have no recourse. They can't do a thing. If you buy it with owner finance, they can always foreclose on the property if you don't pay. The problem with subject to is most investors do not tell the sellers the risk they're taking, because literally it stays on their credit and there's nothing they can pay because you don't owe them any money on subject to. They're just deeding the property to you and walking away. So it's dangerous for them. But it's a big thing in this country right now, subject to, because it's relatively easy. But unfortunately for the sellers, it's not probably their best exit strategy. Now, there's a couple of exceptions to that. I know that, for example, if I'm dealing with the inherited that property from their parents and the loan is in their parents' name, then the kids don't have to worry about, the loan staying in their name and affecting their future ability to finance a house. But, they still don't have any recourse if you don't make the payments. And the second one is sometimes you'll run across a seller that's just so screwed up, there ain't no way he's ever going to go apply for another loan. If he don't care, I don't care. But other than that, I always buy them on a wrap.
Awesome. So next question comes from Robert Straker. He says, hey, Ron, besides your Structuring Your Empire training, can you recommend other lectures, programs related to yours? The more I can do to protect myself, the better. Thank you.
Well, to be honest, you don't need more programs. You just need a law firm to get your estate plan working for you. It is true, the more you learn, the easier it will be to communicate with them and understand what they're trying to tell you. But honestly, I don't think Bob Bloom has an actual course or training. I can't think of anybody. Well, I could probably send you to Lee Phillips. Lee Phillips is an attorney I worked with for a long time. Very, very smart. But other than that, Lee does have a course, by the way. I can't think of anybody else to send you to. You probably should be looking for your own estate planning firm where you live. And I mean a firm now. One attorney will not do a very good job of creating your estate plan, because if you're not careful, you're going to have one attorney doing your asset protection and another one doing your estate plan, and those two are going to collide and have conflicting suggestions from attorneys. I suggest a law firm that has an estate guy in it, a tax guy in it, and a asset protection guy in it. So they can all do it with one cohesive process, and everybody knows what the other one's doing and what they're thinking. You shouldn't have too much trouble finding a firm like that. There's plenty of them out there. I send everybody to Bob Bloom out of Texas. It's called Asset. Oh crap! I don't know. Just look up Bob Bloom, BLUHM, and he's doing this for a lot of my students all over the country. In fact, if you want to have it done free, my office, and let them tell you about our master's program, because if you enter that, we will literally pay for your estate plan for you.
All right, perfect. And this last question, I think you may have touched base on a little bit. This was from Joey Marmo. He said, Ron, here's my problem, the tax assessor. Any change of deed triggers reassessment. He's in Florida and he refinanced another property from his LLC to his trust.
Yeah, okay. That's the one I've already answered. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that because they are correct. Now, when you put your property into a trust for estate planning purposes, they should not charge you any more taxes. No transfer tax, and not raise the tax. And you'll win that one if you do that, because you're still in control of the property. But when you bring it from an LLC to a trust, that's from an entity, which is totally different from you, into you, and that is a reason for them to reassess it. I guess, once they reassess the property, there's nothing stopping them from reassessing it at any time, actually, but they don't usually do it. So something transfers like that, but you're going to pay the taxes on that one and get over it and learn from it. Just leave them in the LLC. If you got them in the LLC, just leave them there, and going forward, take title into the trust directly, and then you won't have this issue.
Perfect. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you today, Ron. Is there anything you wanted to say to the people?
Yeah, write down June 4th on your calendar. I'm going to be doing a whole class on handling contractors, and you better get in on this one if you ever expect to hire a contractor for the rest of your life. Because I promise you, if you don't get trained on how to handle them, they're going to charge you way more than you should pay. So I'm going to go through the whole steps of rehabbing one by one, and I am literally going to prove to you what stuff costs, because I'm going in Home Depot and photograph the products right on the shelf with the prices on them, right? And then I'm going to tell you all kinds of things that I've learned about handling contracts that are worth their weight in gold to you. And just keep an eye out. They can register now, because some people already have. You can go to our office, go on my website, or go on the Gold Club site. Do you know if it's on there, Luke?
So it is on there, and then I'll also attach it pretty much everywhere that they can see this video. So okay. Registration link will be below.
All right. I don't even know how long it's going to be until I get through, but it'll probably be something like 3 hours would be my guess.
Perfect.
All right. See you guys next week.
See you then.